Our planet was a joke to the Empire, until the day we refused to fall. They called us the Mud People. The Kashari Empire, conquerors of 400 worlds, masters of half the galaxy, looked at Earth and laughed. No unified government, primitive weapons, a species so divided we couldn't even agree on what to call our own planet in a universal language. We were fighting each other over lines on maps while they were building Dyson spheres. It will take 3 days, Supreme Commander Thalrex had told his fleet. 1 day to break their defenses. 1 day to occupy major population centers. 1 day to process the surrender. The Kashari had conquered worlds with billion-year-old civilizations. Earth had been spacefaring for barely 2 centuries. We were a joke, a footnote, a planet so insignificant they sent their junior officers to claim it. Lieutenant Sayed Kozlov, USAF, was in a briefing when the first Kashari warships appeared in orbit. She was listening to generals argue about budget allocations when the sky started burning. 12 hours later, she was standing in the ruins of Colorado Springs, holding a rifle that couldn't penetrate Kashari armor, watching soldiers who'd been enemies that morning fighting side by side against an alien invasion. 72 hours later, when humanity should have been broken, conquered, processed, Sarah was standing on a pile of wrecked alien machinery, covered in blood, some haze, mostly theirs, and the Kashari weren't laughing anymore. They'd made one critical mistake. They assumed that because we fell easily, we'd stay down. They'd never encountered a species that treated impossible as a suggestion rather than a fact. This is the story of how Earth, divided, primitive, outgunned Earth, told the greatest empire in the galaxy to go to hell, and made them listen. The first day, the alarm caught Sarah mid-sentence during the briefing. Not the fire alarm, not a drill, the one they'd installed after first contact 5 years ago, the one everyone hoped would never sound. The invasion protocol. This is not a drill, the automated voice announced with infuriating calmness. Unknown vessels have entered Earth orbit. All military personnel report to. The building shook. Somewhere distant, something exploded. Move! Colonel Hendricks roared, and the briefing room emptied in seconds. Sarah ran for the armory with the rest of her squadron, her mind racing. It couldn't be real. Earth had treaties. The Galactic community had rules about invading developing worlds. The second explosion was closer. The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red. Kozlov! Her wingman, Danny Chen, grabbed her arm as they reached the armory. This is really happening. This is really fucking happening. I know. Her hands were steady as she checked her rifle. Training taking over. We trained for this. We trained for maybe one hostile ship. Look. He pointed at a monitor. Sarah's blood went cold. 30 warships. Each one the size of a city, blocking out the stars. Oh my God, someone whispered. Gee up. Hendricks barked. I don't care if there's 3 or 300. We're the United States Air Force and this is our planet. We do not yield. We do not surrender. Are we clear? Sir, yes sir. But Sarah saw the fear in everyone's eyes. How did you fight that? The answer came minutes later when the drop ship started landing. The Kashari. The first alien Sarah saw was 12 feet tall and moved like liquid death. The Kashari were apex predators evolved on a heavy-gravity world where everything wanted to kill you. Their armor was biological, grown, not built, and could shrug off bullets like raindrops. They had 4 arms, each capable of wielding weapons that made human tech look like flintlocks. They landed in downtown Colorado Springs with the kind of precision that spoke of practice. Hundreds of conquered worlds worth of practice. Open fire. Sayer's squadron opened up from their defensive position. Bullets sparked off alien armor. Rockets exploded harmlessly against energy shields. The Kashari didn't even slow down. Fall back. Hendricks ordered. Defensive positions. A plasma bolt vaporized in mid-sentence. For a moment, everyone froze. Then Danny screamed, "Move!" and they were running, Kashari warriors pursuing with terrifying speed. Sarah dove behind a collapsed building, her heart hammering. This wasn't a battle. It was a slaughter. We can't hurt them, someone shouted. Then we find a way. Sarah fired at a pursuing Kashari, aiming for the joints in its armor. Nothing. There has to be a weakness. Lieutenant, a young private, Martinez, fresh out of basic, pointed at a downed Kashari warrior. That one's not moving. Saya looked. He was right. One Kashari was on the ground, its armor cracked. What hit it? Building collapsed on it. The armor could stop bullets, but not multi-ton concrete slabs. Saya's mind raced. Everyone, fall back to the industrial district. We need to change tactics now. The first victory. The Kashari didn't expect traps. Why would they? 400 conquered worlds, and not one had posed a real challenge. Ambushes were for species that had a chance. Primitives like humans just died. So when Sarah's squadron lured them into the warehouse district, they followed without hesitation. Now! Sarah screamed. Explosives placed in building supports detonated. Warehouses collapsed. Tons of steel and concrete rained down on the Kashari warriors. Half of them went down. Their armor cracked under sheer weight and pressure. Fire! Aim for the cracks. This time, when they fired, Kashari died. It wasn't clean. It wasn't easy. They lost good people. Danny took a plasma bolt saving Martinez, and Sarah watched him fall with a scream caught in her throat. But when the dust settled, 12 Kashari warriors were dead, and humanity had its first victory. Holy shit, Martinez whispered, staring at the carnage. We killed them. We actually killed them. Sarah was shaking, adrenaline crash-hitting hard. They'd won, barely, against one small unit. There were thousands more out there. Her radio crackled. Yon reading this? This is Captain James Wu, Marines, requesting, static, Ascension overrun, falling back to. This is Lieutenant Kozlov, Air Force. Captain Wu, do you copy? Kozlov, thank God. We're pinned down at, explosion, east of the academy. We've got wounded and no way out. If anyone can hear this. Saya looked at what was left of her squadron. 8 people, against an empire. We're coming, Captain. Hold your position. Martinez said quietly. There's only 8 of us. Then we better get creative. The meeting. They found Captain Wu and his Marines in a basement, surrounded by wounded and running out of ammunition. Wu was Chinese-American, broad-shouldered, with a scar across his jaw and eyes that had seen too much combat. When Sarah's team came through the door, he had a pistol aimed before recognizing human uniforms. You're the relief force. He looked at 8 people and laughed bitterly. No offense, Lieutenant, but I was hoping for more. This is everyone I could get. Sarah moved to the wounded. 15 Marines, half of them injured. What's your situation? Kashari have the building surrounded. We made a hard stand here, but we're out of options. They are probably waiting for us to starve or waiting for orders to just level the building. He ran a hand through his hair. I've got 2 dead, 8 critical. We need evacuation, but there's nowhere to evacuate to. There's always somewhere. Saya pulled up a tactical map. Underground tunnels. The old Cold War bunkers the city built in the 50s. Those still exist. If the city records are right, there's an entrance 3 blocks from here. 3 blocks through Kashar-controlled streets. Yeah, Wu studied her. You've got a plan. I've got the beginning of one. You in? Do I have a choice? Always. Could stay here and die. Tempting. He grinned suddenly. But I didn't survive Afghanistan to get killed by alien assholes. Let's hear this plan. Over the next hour, Sarah and Wu cobbled together something that was barely a plan and mostly prayer. Use the tunnels to move through the city unseen. Hit Kashari positions from unexpected angles. Rescue survivors. Build a resistance. It's insane, Wu said. You have a better idea. Not even a little bit. They moved out at nightfall, carrying the wounded, using old maintenance tunnels that smelled like rust and forgotten history. You know, Wu said, helping Martinez carry a stretcher. When I woke up this morning, alien invasion wasn't on my bingo card. What was? Sarah asked. Paperwork. Maybe lunch at that Thai place downtown. He paused. Think it's still standing? Probably not. Damn, they had great pad Thai. Saya found herself smiling despite everything. You're handling this well. Oh, I'm terrified. But panic doesn't help. He glanced at her. You? Same. Terror. But also... She struggled for the word. Angry. They came to our planet. Our home. And they think we'll just roll over. Yeah. Wu's jaw tightened. Yeah, I'm feeling that too. They emerged in a bunker that hadn't been used in 70 years. Dusty, dark, but structurally sound. It's not much, Saya said. It's a start. Wu set down his end of the stretcher gently. Now we just need to figure out how 8 soldiers and 15 wounded can take back a planet. The broadcast. Saya didn't sleep that night. She was monitoring radio frequencies, trying to get a sense of what was happening globally. It was bad. Every major city under attack. Governments in chaos. Militaries overwhelmed. The Kashari were landing troops in dozens of locations, establishing control points, setting up what looked like processing centers. They were winning. Easily. But then, still fighting in Moscow. Repeat, Russian forces still holding. Beijing. We've established a defensive perimeter. Australian outback, using guerrilla tactics. Humanity wasn't winning. But we weren't surrendering either. You should rest, Wu's voice said behind her. Saya turned. He was holding 2 ration packs. Found these in storage. They are 20 years expired but probably won't kill us. Probably. I'm an optimist. He sat beside her, offering one. What are you listening to? Everything. Everyone. She took the ration pack. We're getting our asses kicked worldwide, but nobody's giving up. That's humans for you. Too stupid to know when we're beaten. Or too stubborn. Same thing. He was quiet for a moment. I heard what you did. Collapsing that building. First confirmed Kashari kills. Felt more like luck than skill. Luck is better than nothing. And now we know they can die. He looked at her. You gave people hope, Sarah. That matters. Hope doesn't stop plasma bolts. No, but it keeps you fighting. He smiled slightly. I'm James, by the way. Feels weird to keep doing rank and last names while hiding in a bunker during an alien invasion. Sarah. She shook his offered hand. His grip was warm, solid. You really think we can do this? Actually fight back? Honestly, I have no idea. But what else are we going to do? He gestured to the wounded Marines around them. These people followed orders into hell. Someone has to lead them out. And if there is no way out, then we make one. His voice was firm. That's what humans do, right? We adapt. We survive. We find a way. Sarah felt something shift in her chest. Hope, maybe, or just the stubborn human refusal to accept defeat. Okay, she said. Then let's find a way. The resistance. Over the next 48 hours, Sarah and James built something remarkable. Using the tunnel systems, they linked up with other survivors. A group of Canadian soldiers who'd been on a training exchange. British SAS operators cut off from their command. An entire platoon of Japanese self-defense force who'd gone underground rather than surrender. Different nations, different languages, different flags, all human. We can't beat them in a straight fight, Sarah told the assembled group. 30 soldiers now, plus civilians they'd rescued. They are bigger, stronger, better armed. But they don't know our planet. They don't know our cities. And they sure as hell don't know what we're capable of when we're cornered. What are you proposing? The SAS captain, a woman named Alice or Conquest, asked. Guerrilla warfare. Hit and run. Make them bleed for every inch. And while we're doing that, we gather intelligence. Learn their weaknesses. Find out how to really hurt them. That's a long-term strategy, one of the Canadian sergeants pointed out. What about short-term? What about the people in those processing centers? Sarah and James exchanged glances. The Kashari had been rounding up civilians. Purpose unknown, but nothing good. We need more intel before we try a rescue, James said. We need to know what we're up against. I can get that intel, a new voice said. Everyone turned. A young woman stepped forward, civilian clothes, but she moved like military. Dr. Yuki Tanaka. I was a communications specialist before I got my doctorate. If you can get me close to a Kashari command post, I can tap their systems. That's a suicide mission, Alice said flatly. Maybe, but it's necessary. Yuki's voice was steady. My family is in one of those centers. I'm going with or without your help. Sarah saw the determination in her eyes and recognized it. The same thing she felt every time she thought about fighting back. Okay, we'll get you close. She turned to the group. Who's with us? Every hand went up. The infiltration. The Kashari command post was in what used to be the city hall. Now it was a fortress bristling with alien technology and heavily armed guards. Getting Yuki close enough to tap their systems was going to be nearly impossible. They did it anyway. Okay, James whispered from their position in the ruins across the street. Sentries on the roof, patrols every 6 minutes, and what looks like sensor arrays at every entrance. Child's play, Alice said dryly. How's the tap coming, Yuki? The doctor was hunched over a Jura-rigged device, trying to breach Kashari encryption. Their security is insane, but their systems are broadcasting on frequencies they think we can't detect. Arrogant. Can you crack it? Give me 5 minutes. You have 3. That's when the patrol cycle brings 2 guards close enough to notice us. Yuki's fingers flew over her makeshift keyboard. Sarah watched the street, rifle ready, acutely aware that they were completely exposed. We've got movement, one of the Marines whispered. Western approach. How many? 4. No, 6. Shit, they're heading this way. James looked at Sarah. Call it. Sarah's mind raced. If they engaged, they'd alert the whole compound. If they ran, Yuki wouldn't finish the tap. Yuki, how long? 2 minutes. We don't have 2 minutes. Then Sarah saw it. An old fire truck, abandoned in the street. And she had a spectacularly stupid idea. Cover me. She ran for the truck before anyone could stop her. Sarah, what the hell? James hissed. She reached the truck, praying it still had fuel. Turned the ignition. The engine coughed, sputtered, started. She gunned it toward the Kashari patrol, hand on the horn. The sound blared through the empty street. Distinctly human, distinctly wrong for this situation. The Kashari turned toward the noise, weapons raising. Sarah drove straight at them, then yanked the wheel hard, sending the truck into a spin. It crashed into a storefront 2 blocks away from her team's position. The Kashari pursued the noise. Sarah ran back, lungs burning. Just as Yuki said, "Got it. I'm in. Then let's go." They disappeared into the tunnels seconds before the Kashari reached the crashed truck. Back in the bunker, Yuki pulled up the stolen data, and everyone gathered around. "Oh my God," she whispered. "What?" Sarah leaned in. "What is it?" "They're not just conquering us. They're cataloging us. Every human they capture goes through biological scanning, psychological profiling, skill assessment." Yuki's voice shook. "They're sorting us, deciding who's useful and who's expendable," James finished grimly. "There's more." Yuki pulled up another file. This is their timeline. 3 days for full planetary conquest. Day 1, break defenses. Day 2, occupy. Day 3, process surrender and begin resource extraction. "We're on day 3, Alice noted. "Exactly, and according to their reports." Yuki smiled suddenly, fiercely. "They're behind schedule. Way behind. Resistance worldwide is unexpectedly persistent. Multiple commanders are requesting reinforcements." "We're winning," someone asked. "We're not losing," Sarah corrected. "And that's apparently more than they expected." James was studying the data. "Look at this. They're consolidating forces, pulling back from smaller cities to reinforce major population centers. They're overstretched," Alice said. "They didn't bring enough troops because they didn't think they'd need them." Sarah felt that hope flare again, stronger now. "Then we hit them while they are weak. Target their supply lines. Disrupt their communications. Make this occupation cost them more than they ever expected to pay." "The mud people fight back," James said with a grim smile. "Damn right we do." The turning point. The raid on the Kashari supply depot was supposed to be quick. In and out, blow the supplies, disappear. It went sideways immediately. "Contact." Alice's voice crackled over comms. We've got 3 times the guards we expected. Fall back. Sarah ordered. We can't. They've cut off our exit. Sarah and James exchanged looks. They were supposed to be the backup team, a block away. We're coming, James said. Hold on. They ran toward the firefight, 12 soldiers against an unknown number of Kashari. What they found was chaos. Alice's team pinned down, plasma bolts turning cover to slag. Kashari advancing in perfect formation, because why wouldn't they? They'd never lost a fight. Suppressing fire. James roared, and his marines opened up, drawing Kashari attention. Saya saw her opening. Follow me. She led 4 soldiers in a flanking maneuver, using the rubble and destroyed buildings for cover. The Kashari were focused on the frontal assault. They didn't expect an attack from the side. Big mistake. Saya's team hit them with grenades, rifle fire, and pure desperate fury. 2 Kashari went down, then 3, but more were coming. We're about to be overrun. Alice shouted. Then Sarah heard it. Engines. Heavy engines. A tank rolled around the corner. An actual M1 Abrams that someone had gotten operational, covered in improvised armor and crewed by what looked like a mix of army tankers and random civilians who'd figured out how to drive it. Need a lift? A voice called from the hatch. The tank's main gun fired. The Kashari line broke. Move! Sarah screamed, and everyone ran, piling onto the tank as it reversed at full speed, its gun continuing to fire. They made it 6 blocks before the tank's fuel ran out. Everyone off. The tank commander, a grizzled sergeant who introduced himself as "Just call me Ramirez," ordered. She gave us what she could. Now we run. They ran, made it back to the tunnels with Kashari pursuit on their heels. Collapsed the entrance behind them. In the bunker, Sarah did a head count. Everyone had made it. Wounded, exhausted, but alive. That was too close, Alice said, slumping against a wall. But we made it. James was bandaging a gash on his arm, and we took out their supply depot. At what cost? We almost lost everyone. But we didn't. Sarah's voice was firm. We adapt. We learn. Next time we'll do better. Will there be a next time? Someone asked quietly. Before Sarah could answer, Yuki called out, Everyone, you need to see this. She'd been monitoring global communications. Now she pulled up a video feed. It was Thal Rex, the Kashari Supreme Commander, broadcasting from orbit. Humans of Earth, his translated voice boomed. Your resistance is futile. You have fought admirably for primitives, but you must see the truth. You cannot win. I offer you this one chance. Surrender now, and your species will be treated fairly within the Empire. Continue fighting, and we will be forced to take harsher measures. The message ended. Silence in the bunker. Then Ramirez laughed. Harsher measures. What's he going to do? Invade us harder? Others started laughing too. Exhausted, slightly hysterical laughter, but genuine. Iscade, Yuki said, eyes wide. That message, it's not a threat. It's a plea. They want us to surrender because the fighting is costing them too much. We're winning, Martinez said, wonder in his voice. We're surviving, Sarah corrected. But yay, we're making them bleed. And that's more than they ever expected. James caught her eye across the bunker. Something passed between them. Understanding, respect, maybe something more. So what do we do? Alice asked. Answer his surrender demand. Sarah thought about Danny, who died saving Martinez. About Colonel Hendricks, vaporized in the first minutes. About millions of humans worldwide who'd refused to give up despite impossible odds. We answer him, she said. Just not how he expects. The response. Yuki worked through the night, building a transmitter strong enough to hijack Kashari communications. This is insane, she muttered. The encryption alone should make this impossible. And yet, Saya prompted, and yet they are arrogant enough to think we couldn't crack it, which means they left vulnerabilities. She grinned. Never underestimate spite as a motivating factor. That should be humanity's motto, James said. By dawn, they were ready. We're going to broadcast this globally. Alice asked. To every human. And every Kashari, Sarah confirmed. Let them hear us. Let them know we're not beaten. You sure about this? Once we broadcast, they'll triangulate our position. Then we better make it count. Saya took a breath. Ready when you are, Yuki. Broadcasting in 3, 2, 1. Saya looked into the camera Yuki had rigged. Supreme Commander Thalrex, you offered us a chance to surrender. She smiled. We respectfully decline. You came to our planet expecting an easy conquest. You thought we'd break in 3 days. Well, it's been 3 days. We're still here, still fighting, and we're just getting started. She gestured to the people around her. You see us as primitives, mud people, divided and weak. But you made a mistake. You thought our divisions made us fragile. You didn't realize that when you threaten humanity, we remember something older than our nations, older than our flags. We remember that we're all human, and humans don't give up. She leaned forward. So here's our answer to your generous offer. Come and take it. But know that every inch of Earth you claim, you'll pay for in blood. Every human you face will fight like it's their last stand. Because this is our home, and we will defend it to our last breath. She smiled again, fierce now. You wanted to conquer us in 3 days. Let's see how long it actually takes. The broadcast ended. For a moment, silence. Then every radio, every monitor, every communication channel still functioning on Earth started lighting up. Cheers. Battle cries. In 100 languages, the message was the same. Humanity was still in the fight. Sarah, Yuki said, looking at her monitors. We're getting responses. A lot of responses. From who? Everyone. Military units we didn't know still existed. Civilian resistance groups. Scientists who've been analyzing captured Kashari tech. They are all reaching out, wanting to coordinate. James was reading the messages, his expression growing more amazed. There's a group in Tokyo who've figured out how to jam Kashari communications. Engineers in Berlin who've adapted their weapons to actually penetrate Kashari armor. Civilians in Sao Paulo who've been running an underground railroad, smuggling people out of processing centers. We're not alone, Alice whispered. We never were, Saya said. We just needed to find each other. Over the next hours, they coordinated with resistance cells worldwide. Shared intelligence. Planned synchronized strikes. Humanity, divided for all its history, was finally fighting as one species. And the Kashari were about to learn what that meant. The counterattack. The strikes happened simultaneously across the globe. In Colorado Springs, Sarah's team hit a Kashari command post. In Tokyo, resistance fighters destroyed a communications hub. In Berlin, Moscow, Cairo, Sydney, humans fought back with everything they had. Not with superior technology, not with greater numbers, with knowledge of their own planet, with desperate creativity, with the absolute refusal to accept defeat. Saya's team used the tunnels to plant explosives under a Kashari barracks. The explosion took out 36 warriors and crippled their ability to patrol the Eastern District. James led a rescue operation that freed 200 civilians from a processing center. They lost 4 people doing it, but saved hundreds. Alice's SAS operators conducted a raid that captured actual Kashari officers, an intelligence coup that gave humanity insights into enemy command structure. And Yuki, brilliant Yuki, cracked deeper into Kashari systems and found something remarkable. They are arguing, she said, listening to intercepted communications. The commanders, some want to pull back, regroup. Others are demanding reinforcements. And Thalrex. She smiled. Thalrex is being ordered to justify why a primitive species is costing the Empire so much. We're hurting them, Sarah said. Really hurting them. More than that. Yuki pulled up fleet positions. They are withdrawing ships from other sectors, bringing in reinforcements. That's bad, right? Martinez asked. More ships means more troops. It means, James said slowly, they're taking us seriously. They can't afford to look weak. So they're committing more resources to a planet they thought would be an easy win. Which spreads them thinner elsewhere, Alice finished. Other species they've conquered will see the Empire struggling against humans. Against primitives. We're not just fighting for Earth, Sarah realized. We're showing the entire galaxy that the Empire can be resisted. That night, exhausted from another raid, Sarah found James on watch. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "Too wired." She sat beside him. "We're making a difference. Actually making a difference." "Yeah." He was quiet for a moment. "Danny would be proud. All the people we've lost, they'd be proud." "You think we can actually win this?" "Honestly, I don't know. But I know we can make them regret ever coming here." He looked at her. "That speech you gave, that was something else. I just said what needed saying. You gave people hope. Direction. You made everyone remember why we fight." His hand found hers. "You're a natural leader, Sarah. So are you. We make a good team." "Yeah, we do." They sat in comfortable silence, hands linked, watching the ruins of their city. "When this is over," James said quietly, "assuming we survive, you want to get dinner." Sarah laughed. "Are you asking me on a date in the middle of an alien invasion?" Seemed like the right time. We might not get another chance. She squeezed his hand. "Yes, when this is over, we'll get dinner. Somewhere nice. Maybe that Thai place you liked. Pretty sure it's rubble. Then we'll find another one." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Something to fight for, right? A future where we can have normal things like dates and dinner." "I like that future." "Me too." The final stand. Day 7 of the invasion. The Kashari should have been processing Earth's surrender. Instead, they were facing coordinated resistance on every continent. Thalrex had had enough. "All forces," his order came through on every channel. "Converge on resistance leadership." The human called Kozlov and her commanders. "Find them. End them. Make an example that will break their spirit." Yuki intercepted the order. "Sarah, they're coming for us. Everything they've got." "How long?" "Hours. Maybe less." Sarah looked at the people in the bunker. 30 soldiers, 20 civilians, against the full might of a Kashari assault force. "We need to evacuate," Alice said. "Get everyone out through the tunnels." "No." Sarah's voice was firm. "We run. They hunt us down one by one. We make our stand here." "That's suicide." "Maybe, but we've made this bunker a symbol. People across the planet know we're here, fighting. If we abandon it, we abandon that symbol." "She's right," James said. "We hold here, we fight here, and we make them pay for every inch." "Everyone who wants to leave, go," Sarah said to the room. "No judgment. You've all fought hard. No one will blame you for choosing to survive." No one moved. "All right then." She smiled. "Let's give them hell." They spent the next hours preparing. Every trap they could think of. Every defensive position fortified. Yuki rigged the Kashari tech they'd captured to overload, one massive bomb that would take out anything in a 3-block radius. "If we're going down," she said grimly, "we're taking them with us." The Kashari came at dusk. Not dozens. Hundreds. Dropships filled the sky. Troops poured into the streets. "Here we go," James said, checking his rifle one last time. He looked at Sarah. "Been an honor." "Not over yet, Captain." The first wave hit the outer defenses. Explosives took out the leaders. Sniper fire from hidden positions dropped more. But they kept coming. "Fall back to second line," Sarah ordered. They gave ground slowly, fighting for every room, every corridor. Martinez died holding a doorway so others could retreat. Ramirez was hit by plasma fire but kept fighting, kept firing until he physically couldn't anymore. They fell back to the central bunker. 20 people left. Ammunition running low. "Yuki," Sarah called. "How long until that bomb is ready?" 2 minutes. "Everyone into the escape tunnel. Now." "What about you?" James demanded. "Someone has to trigger it manually. The remote detonator won't work through all this interference." "Then I'll." "No." Sarah grabbed his face, kissed him hard. "You lead them out. You keep fighting. That's an order, Captain." "Sarah, go." She shoved him toward the tunnel. Alice and Yuki dragged him back even as he fought to stay. The Kashari breached the final door. Sarah stood alone, hand on the detonator, and smiled. "Hey," she shouted at the aliens pouring in. "Bet you wish you'd brought more troops." She hit the detonator. The explosion could be seen from orbit. It took out 3 city blocks and 200 Kashari warriors. And Sarah Kozlov. James made it to the surface just in time to see the mushroom cloud rising. He fell to his knees, something breaking inside his chest. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no." Alice's hand on his shoulder. "She saved us. She saved everyone." Around the world, resistance fighters heard what happened. Heard that the woman who told the Empire to go to hell had died fighting. And instead of breaking their spirit, it ignited something fiercer. Humans across Earth rose up with renewed fury. Every Kashari position came under attack. Every occupation force faced resistance that fought like they had nothing left to lose. Because Sarah had shown them the way. Thalrex, watching the reports come in, made a decision. "Withdraw all forces to orbit," he ordered. His second-in-command stared. "So, this planet is not worth the cost. We have lost more warriors here than in our last 10 campaigns combined. And for what? Resources we can extract from lifeless worlds without resistance." He looked at Earth, small and blue and defiant. "Mark this world as hostile. Extreme caution advised. And send a message to the Empire. Humanity is not to be underestimated." The Kashari left. Not in defeat. They maintained it was a strategic withdrawal. But they left. Earth was free. James stood at the memorial they'd built in Colorado Springs. Thousands of names carved into black stone. Danny's, Martinez's, Ramirez's, and at the top, Lieutenant Sarah Kozlov. "Hey," a voice said behind him. James turned and stopped breathing. Sarah stood there, leaning on a cane, covered in scars, but alive. Very alive. "How?" he managed. "Turns out those old bunkers had secondary escape tunnels I didn't know about. Blast knocked me into one. Spent 3 months in a coma while doctors put me back together." She limped closer. "Heard you've been busy. Captain James Wu, leader of the United Earth Defense Force. It's just a title. It's what we need. Someone to lead us." She stood in front of him now. "I also heard you've been visiting this memorial every day." "Had to. Thought you were." His voice broke. "I know." She touched his face. "I'm sorry. I should have found a way to contact you sooner. You're alive. That's all that matters." He pulled her into his arms, careful of her injuries. "God, Sarah, I thought I lost you. Takes more than an explosion to kill me. I'm stubborn like that." He laughed through tears. Yeah, you are." They stood together, 2 soldiers who'd helped save their world, watching the sun set over a city being rebuilt. "So," Sarah said, "about that dinner date. The Thai place is actually being rebuilt. Opening next month. Then we've got a date. We've got a date." Earth had been a joke to the Empire. The mud people, primitive and divided. Until the day they invaded. Until the day humanity refused to fall. And showed the galaxy what we're really made of.